Goedenavond vanuit Albert Park. Mijn naam is Erwin Jaeggi, Formule 1-verslaggever van motorsport.com. En naast mij staat Edd Straw, Grand Prix editor van Autosport. En in deze laatste F1-update vanuit Melbourne blikken we terug op de eerste race van het seizoen. Lewis Hamilton was gisteren dan de sterkste in de kwalificatie. Valtteri Bottas die was vandaag beter weg bij de start en baarde daarna opzien door toch wel redelijk ver weg te rijden bij Hamilton en de rest van het veld. De andere verrassing van vandaag was natuurlijk Max Verstappen, die in zijn eerste race met een Honda aangedreven Red Bull gelijk op het podium wist te eindigen. Hij reed gewoon een hele sterke tweede stint op de mediums en leek redelijk eenvoudig voorbij te gaan aan Sebastian Vettel. En kwam vervolgens ook nog tot 2 keer toe heel dicht in de buurt bij Lewis Hamilton. Maar moest op een gegeven moment weer opnieuw beginnen, omdat hij een momentje had in de eerste bocht waarbij hij op het gras kwam. Maar hij zei na afloop in de persconferentie dat het momentje waarschijnlijk toch niks had uitgemaakt voor het eindresultaat. Dan nu een paar vragen aan Edd Straw. Ed, I think nobody really expected Rebel Honda to be on the podium here. Are you surprised as well?
To a point, I wouldn't necessarily have been surprised based on testing if a Red Bull Honda could perhaps challenge Mercedes behind Ferrari. But then we saw this big change with Ferrari struggling. Mercedes have made a very good step since testing. So from that regard, the way it happened was a bit of a surprise. I think maybe we were expecting Red Bull to be fractionally less competitive, but it was very clear from testing they hadn't lost anything from moving to Honda, and maybe it gained. So I wouldn't necessarily have put a large amount of money on it happening, but yeah, I think it's a good start for Honda, and I've got high hopes for them this year because I think Honda really are ready to push on. I do expect them to win a race this year.
Albert Park is of course a unique track. Do you think Red Bull Honda can keep the momentum going on permanent tracks like the ones in Bahrain and China that are next?
I think we will see a little bit of variation based on the track performance sensitivities, as the teams like to call it. Bahrain could be very good. Remember, Pierre Gasly last year in the Toro Rosso Honda finished 4th, was at the front of the Class B battle. So I think Bahrain could be a very good one. Maybe some of the tracks where fuel consumption is a little bit marginal could be a little bit less strong. But I think, yeah, we're going to see Red Bull Honda being pretty consistently there, and certainly in a position where at worst, if Mercedes or Ferrari have some problems, they're there to finish ahead of them, just as Max Verstappen was today.
Mercedes team principal Toto Wolff said after the race that we have to take into account Red Bull Honda now for the championship. Do you agree with him?
I think you always take seriously a driver like Max Verstappen, a team like Red Bull and an engine manufacturer like Honda. I think it's more just keeping an eye on them at the moment rather than being overly worried, but certainly they're going to be thereabouts, and if people start messing things up and having trouble, they're going to pick up a lot of points. So they might be able to hang on to the championship fight, and maybe, who knows, stranger things have happened, as we say. But definitely, once you get to next year, based on where they are now, you'd expect Max Verstappen and Red Bull Honda to be right there.
Another solid race from Max, very clean overtake on Seb Vettel as well. Is it another sign that he's ready to fight for a world title?
I've got very little doubt that he's ready now. I think last year he went through a little bit of learning, in that I think he really bought into the idea that he doesn't need to be at 100%. We know how good Max Verstappen is. He's so quick. He's great on tyre management. He is an intelligent driver, and he doesn't need to be at 100% all the time to be quicker than everyone. He's an outstanding driver. So yeah, I think Max is absolutely ready. We'll see him consistently up there leading the line for this team this year. I've got no doubt about
that. Tricky start of the season for Pierre Gasly due to a team error in qualifying. But yeah, he put himself under quite a bit of pressure as well to crash twice during winter testing. There's already some whispers in the paddock that Danny Kvyat might return to Red Bull Racing. Do you think that is a real prospect?
I think it's a bit early for that, to be honest. But yeah, it has been a difficult start for Pierre Gasly. He's found it different getting into a car like the Red Bull, which is to get the pace out of it, a little bit more on edge. He's obviously up against an incredible teammate in Max Verstappen. He had some bad luck, falling out in Q1. Was not entirely his fault. He could have done better on his first run in Q1, although he's only about 1/10 and a half off Max Verstappen's time. And there was this communication problem of some sort. We're not exactly sure where the responsibility lies there, but it meant he didn't get his second run because he did 2 cool-down laps while recharging. The rough detail on that. I think in the race he'll be very disappointed he didn't get into the points. He got kind of close, and I don't think it's going to help him. But I do think Gasly is a very quick racing driver. We saw that last year at Bahrain, as we mentioned. He was outstanding. So I think in terms of pressure for the seat, yeah, there's always pressure to deliver, but I think it's going to be a while yet before we start saying, is he going to get replaced and is Danny Kvyat going to be back in there? So yeah, he'll improve, I'm sure.
Are you impressed by Danny Kvyat's first race back in Formula 1?
Pretty much. He got into the points, which is pretty good. The Toro Rosso has a reasonable turn of speed. It's not the easiest car necessarily to drive. We did see him have that off-track moment through the gravel. Actually, Max had a moment in the race, didn't he, at turn 1 when he ran off. I should have mentioned that. Yeah, I am impressed with Kvyat, and I think, in fact, his last race in Formula 1 was the United States Grand Prix, if memory serves, in 2017, when he scored points with a really good weekend. And I remember speaking to him after that race and saying, it's too little, too late, probably. But I think he has come back as a driver who's a little bit more relaxed in terms of the pressure he puts on himself. Not that he's not taking it seriously, but he's letting it come to him a bit more. He's an older, more mature, wiser driver. So I think it's a good start for him to get that points finish in the bag, show what he can do, get a nice start, and just bed back in, shall we say.
In 2 weeks' time, we have the next race in Bahrain. What are your expectations for that one?
I suspect it'll be closer at the front. I think Ferrari will be stronger. I still think Mercedes will be very, very strong, probably ahead based on what we've seen here. I think that 7/10 gap in qualifying, you wouldn't expect to be repeated, but maybe it will be. Then Ferrari will be in real trouble. Red Bull, I think, at a sort of similar level, and so maybe hoping to nab a podium finish. We get a slightly more normal track. This is a strange one, Albert Park. So I think we will see those gaps closing, because that's what normally happens when you move away from this circuit.
Alright, thank you Ed. Dit was onze laatste F1-update vanuit Melbourne. Bedankt voor het kijken.